welcome to the SMX Insider post-race show. What a night. What a night in Birmingham. Because so many riders put on terrific performances in this Triple Crown, the final Triple Crown of the year. And one of those riders, Aaron Plessinger. Let's hear from him with JT.
Thank you, Lee. Well, the podium party rolls on down here, AP. You said you're going to be back up here. You made good on it. Tell us about your night. I know you weren't thrilled about race 3, but the end goal certainly was the podium, and you found yourself here.
Yeah, I told you it was not a good look going 2, 3, 5, but we're up here, third place on the night, and yeah, man, I just feel like I'm on a roll. I just feel like I've found another gear and found a good groove, and man, the boys at the practice track, they're keeping me on my toes. The Baker's factory is a riot right now. It's we're going off, and Alden's keeping us in shape. So yeah, got to give it up to him, and yeah, it was just a good night, man. Good starts, good riding. You know, I led a lot of laps, and then yeah, just couldn't seal the deal. But hey, we're up on the podium, and that's all they asked for. But I got to give it up to the whole KTM Factory Racing team, Red Bull. My smoking hot wife, she's down there. I got in trouble last week for not thanking her, and my kids at home, my parents, Thor, Parts Unlimited, Oakley, Alpine Star, Ethica, DBK, you know, everybody I forgot, everybody that helps me, all these fans out here in Alabama, they were insane, and yeah, we're gonna keep it up and hopefully podium the season out.
Great job, AP. We'll see you in Seattle. Woo!
Yeah, not only was it Malcolm Stewart's second podium of the year, it was Aaron Plessinger's second as well. And to his words earlier this evening that he knows and totally acknowledges that he was in a bit of a rut as the year began, but he's turned it around.
Yeah, slow start, strong finish. What he said, he's told Ian Harrison, his team manager.
I'm going to finish the season, but I'm going to finish it strong. I'm going to change things around. Instead of starting strong, I'm going to finish. There's the synopsis of the season and the 6 different winners. A huge win for Roczen in Daytona. Now 3 wins apiece for Sexton and Webb. We couldn't ask for it to be any better. And the training partners share the podium.
I would if I had one. I don't know, don't put me motherfucking goggles on. Oh, it's like that? It's like that. It's like that? It's like that. Uh-oh, hold on. Like that. Oh, hold on. Throw your goggles on, son. Huh? Nah, we're coming down there. We're coming down there. We're gonna spray you, mama.
That's a great feeling for those training partners. And a big night also, not only for the Red Bull KTM guys, but the Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna team. Tell us more, Will.
That's right, Lee. A big night for the team, and I'm here with team manager Nate Ramsey. Nate, you had 2 guys here tonight with fantastic performances, both with their own health problems. They're fighting through injury. Your team shows some kind of determination that it's tough to match. Just talk to me about individually what they've gone through tonight and how proud you are of them to get those results battling that.
Yeah, well, RJ obviously has been, you know, fighting through that wrist injury from last year, but we all know how tough he is and how determined he is. He fell a little bit flat, I think, tonight at the end, the final race, but all in all, man, the kid's a warrior. He always fights hard. I love him to death. I'm so proud of him. And then Malcolm to get up there and get second. What a day. I mean, he had a couple big crashes in practice, as we all know, and it's pretty beat up. but he's a soldier, and he pushed through that thing, and I couldn't be happier. I mean, the whole group, you know, Rockstar Energy, Husqvarna Factory Racing, and the other boys, I'm happy to be a part of it and blessed to be here.
Now, team managers such as yourself who've come from professional riding backgrounds, you've lived through so much of this, the injuries, the ups, the downs. What is it you can say to your guys in those moments? And they both had their moments. What can you say? What do they need to bring them up and get what we've seen tonight, the kind of results we've seen tonight?
Yeah, unfortunately, it comes with the territory with this sport. You got to be tough. You got to be willing to put your head down and just grind through it. And, you know, I mean, ultimately, I just tell those guys, every time you hit the track, give it the best, give it everything you got, and hit the details, you know, get a good start, put yourself in a good position to take advantage. And when they do that, they're very capable of winning. And tonight we had a good night. And again, I'm happy. And those guys are tough. They know how to race. They know how to push through injuries and things like that.
Well, we appreciate your time. I know you're desperate to go celebrate with them, so they've already spread their champagne. Go and enjoy, Nate. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you so much.
Highlights of the 10th round here in Birmingham. Ricky, we couldn't have asked for better weather.
No, it was perfect. I wanted to be out in the stands watching some Supercross. It was cool. It's a good crowd tonight.
How about Aaron Plessinger? He was the whole shot king tonight. He got 2 of the 3. He didn't convert them into victories, but that's okay. His starts were just magical, and this was the mistake that Cooper Webb will relive several times in between now and Seattle and have to push it aside. He said you can't put yourself in that position in a Triple Crown first race.
I mean, how about a shout out to Ken Roxon riding with a separated shoulder. Incredible grit and determination. But the 4, Sexton gets in there, gives Anderson the business.
And then this is where Malcolm Stewart really started to make big inroads into his 3 races, all of them in the top 3. Then the teammates went at it. Sexton got Anderson in this turn, tried that on Plessinger, and it worked.
Yeah, that was a great move. Actually, Sexton slowed down a little bit, anticipating that AP would come back underneath him. So that was some great riding and defense move by the 4.
So fast qualifier into race 1 winner. And you got that feeling by looking at how Sexton was riding that it was going to be one of those kind of nights. Okay, race 2, same result at the whole shot line. Aaron Plessinger out in front.
Dude, his starts were fire tonight. And, I mean, even Chase Sexton as well. Malcolm Stewart was getting great rides as well. We talked about it a lot, but that was a good pass and a nice save. He gets cross-rutted coming out of that corner in those deep ruts.
By the way, on the opening lap, here's Anderson in the mix here. Anderson got on the inside pretty hard of Sexton, but Sexton got away with it. Unfortunately, Jason didn't get away with that as Webb took his front end out.
He had a really rough night. And, I hate that for El Hombre, just not being able to really show what he's capable of doing.
Yet another great move there, and yet another win. Same result, race 1, race 2. Chase Sexton's looking around, where is everybody? This is the gravity of the situation that Malcolm Stewart was dealing with and struggling with. I mean, you just heard Nate Ramsey say he was a soldier, he was a warrior. Look at him.
My mind is blown at how well he was. I mean, it seemed like he got better and better, it seemed like each race.
Yeah. All right, so AP didn't get the whole shot sweep. His teammate stole the last one from him. Sexton got the best start, but that wasn't the story in the 3rd and final race.
Oh, look at that. Jason Anderson. Looks like he starts going to the right. Maybe he was anticipating Malcolm to keep closing him out, and he comes up short and then hits the top block, takes it down. Not his night whatsoever.
A little bobble here for Sexton, and that was all Cooper Webb needed to have that inside line, and Sexton wasn't going to challenge that. He wasn't going to fight. He knew he was in a prioritized position.
And he didn't have to, because he still had the overall. And you go back to Arlington and what that looked like, it would have been a different result, and way to make the adjustment from the 4.
Again, I think that was Malcolm Stewart's favorite corner.
Yeah.
After he was tripling that rhythm section.
He made a lot of key passes in that 90-degree right-hander, just slipping up the inside and taking the outside line away from his competitors in front of him.
And so Cooper Webb had the last laugh. He got the last victory, but it was damage done in that first race that put him in a bit of a hole. So despite winning the overall, the big honors went to this man here. Chase Sexton, 3rd win of the year, and these two here, it is game on. Sexton v. Webb for this 2025 450 title. A 1-1-2 gets Sexton the win. Look at Malcolm Stewart, riding injured, a 3-2-3 result. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you talk about it being injured and banged up. That was a hard fall. I'm surprised he lined up to race. Him, as well as we talked about Ken Roxon, just way to fight through that pain and stay strong and come out with a great result.
And again, the training partners, Sexton, Stewart, Plessinger,
Yep.
they dominated the night, and all being on the podium, that'll give him some fun things to talk about.
Oh yeah,
next week.
It'll be a fun day at the fun week of practicing at the Baker factory.
This is why Ricky said earlier tonight it is game on, because a 15-point advantage has now been trimmed to 8.
And as
Webb and Sexton.
And as you're exactly right, Lee. And as we get to these open air stadiums, they're going to have to hope that Mother Nature is on their side. And if it is, I mean, it really puts these riders in a position where they have to do all of the things right, because if they don't, you just don't have the races to make up from that loss of points and mistakes.
So there you go. When we started the evening, we were saying this has to be the night. This has to be the pivotal night where Chase Sexton stops the bleeding, turns things around, just has a more positive environment in his head. You know, instead of saying, I've had the speed, I've had wins, but I keep crashing, I keep making these, the bike keeps stalling, all of these things that, unfortunately for him, everybody was talking about and asking him about. Well, he did do that tonight.
Yeah, well, if he's changed anything, keep doing what you've changed, because it's absolutely working. He looked like, to me, he was on rails tonight. The bike looked great. He didn't have to win that last race, so do I think he could have? Absolutely. Maybe he was playing the long game and didn't want to make the same mistake that he did back in Arlington, because again, like I just said, they don't have as many races to make up for mulligans. Those are gone. You have to do everything right, and he looks great. I think now the pressure is more on Cooper Webb. Rarely do you see him do anything like that, and that was a big one. And you talk about maximizing his points. Chase Sexton won. Cooper Webb got 4th. That's big.
Yeah.
Very big.
So what's your racing IQ? What's your gut tell you? Is this, I mean, it is from a points standpoint, right? And the win, and you could see the attitude of Chase Sexton, but does your gut tell you that this is a major turning point?
Yeah, this is a major turning point, absolutely, because you just look how comfortable Chase was. And I feel like Chase, on the mental side of things, he knows he is good at the end of these championship runs. Statistically, it tells you that as well. So when you know in your mind that you're good, it helps you. It gives you more confidence going into those races. So I would be thinking, if I'm Cooper Webb, I just have to do everything right. And I have to put Chase Sexton in a position to where he makes a mistake, a forced mistake, and you can't give it to him, because if you give it to him, he's just going to keep rolling. That's what I would do if I was Cooper Webb, or if I was racing a guy like Chad Reed. I just would make sure that I'm at least second or right behind Chase.
A reminder, because we're talking championship, not only Supercross and Pro Motocross, but in the big scheme of things, the SMX World Championship, because that's what this is part of. The playoffs, a reminder, ZMAX Dragway in Charlotte, then at the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis, and then the finale, the World Championship finale for the 3rd year in a row now. SMX World Championship on the line at the Strip in Las Vegas.
Ooh, I love it. Bubble time. This is where you really start looking at riders going for it, because they know how important it is and they know what is on the line to make those playoffs and not have to race yourself in and have to qualify each and every weekend. So you want to see a race within a race. Watch that 18th, the 20th, the 21st, 22nd. Those guys are going to be full send mode, I can promise you.
SMX Next was on track for its 3rd race of the season. We're going to see these youngsters a whole lot more, but the man who won the first 2 races of the year, Landon Gordon, went down and was stuck and was trapped.
See, his right leg is caught underneath the handlebars, but dude, how about Gibson?
Then Landon Gibson while leading. By the way, this is just the beginning of leaders having adversity. Then Fedortsov, Alexander went down.
He went. I thought this was redemption win. Then Malinowski, he gets sideways, goes through underneath the fence.
Meanwhile,
catch net.
Enzo Temmerman says, "Thank you very much. I'm here, I'm waiting, and I'm going to turn 2 seconds into a victory."
That was like a veteran, just, hey, letting the race come to him, and the other guys threw it away, and he took advantage of it. Great job by all these riders.
And it was really interesting because both Enzo Temmerman and Luke Fauser said the same thing. Even at this young age, we've been taught you've got to sometimes wait for the race to come to you. And then congrats to Tiger Wood getting on the podium. He has not done a lot of racing lately. And JT, to see that podium, it was unexpected. And 3 times in that race, the leader threw the lead away.
It was, and speaking of throwing the lead away, I'm standing in the corner where Ryder Malinowski threw that lead away on the last lap. But what I want to talk to you about is the deterioration of this corner and how it changed throughout the race. Now, this is the corner that I mentioned that is right before the whoop section. You can see how badly these outside ruts started to go away throughout the race. Now, what happens is riders like Cooper Webb, Justin Cooper in race 3, they start dropping down to this inside. Now, you see how nice this is. It's a really steep arc to get to, but it's nice and smooth. It's not super deep, and they can cut the corner shorter, shortening the racetrack, as we say. The problem then becomes, as we start to go to the whoops, is it throws you into the nastiest part of the whoops, this huge rut that Cooper Webb has to contend with. So that's the choice that riders have to make. Do you want to take the quicker inside line, but that's going to throw you into the nastiest part of the rut? Or do you want to take the worst ruts on the outside and get to the left where Chase Sexton was blitzing down the left side of the whoop? So as these tracks start to go away, and that's going to be a continuing theme. You think about Seattle, we go to Foxborough, we go to Philly, Pittsburgh, East Rutherford. All these races are going to have this same dynamic where the track goes away late in these races, whether it's a 21-minute main event or a Triple Crown race. These riders have to contend with a deteriorating racetrack, much different than what we saw like Glendale, Anaheim. Those tracks stay really consistent. So watch for that. Watch for riders like Cooper Webb. You saw how good he was in race 3. That's not an accident. When the track gets worse, he gets better. So it's a pretty good setup for him moving forward. It's something that Chase Sexton's going to have to fight back against.
Upcoming schedule. What do you have to look forward to? Well, it's a West Coast trip first up. That's next week in Seattle. And then the Northeast Swing. 4 races, an unprecedented Northeast Swing. 4 races in a condensed period. It's going to be fantastic. And, of course, we're looking to the Supercross finale in Salt Lake City before we head outdoors and kick things off at Fox Raceway.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I love Pro Motocross Championship. And, man, just the toughness and hot races, just putting these athletes to the absolute test.
.250 East Division, from the first 4 races of the season, had 4 different winners. Would there be 5 on a beautiful evening in Alabama? Boy, RJ Hampshire got the whole shot. But then on the opening lap, one of the key things to happen in the race, Vial got out of his groove and Hammaker went down on the opening lap.
Yeah, this track was super fresh. SMX track crew putting water down, and this is mayhem. Right here is a parking lot. Seth Hammaker going down, losing a ton of positions.
RJ said, where did everybody go? Meanwhile, Seth Hammaker staged a terrific comeback, but the damage was done.
Yeah, it was just too much to come back from, because he was down for a while. He ended up coming back to 9th, which is definitely respectable. Remember, these races are a bit shorter than a normal main event.
Vial almost stole the win from RJ Hampshire, but RJ hung tough. Although not feeling great, he said, I just didn't have the spark or the fire. So despite not feeling that great or feeling like he had the magic, he still won the first race.
And I feel like sometimes for me, maybe if you don't have that spunk and spark, at least you're a little bit more consistent, and he was tonight.
All right, how about what went down in race 2? Well, it was pretty straightforward. The man aboard the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki, Seth Hammaker, said, all right, I was sick of having to come through the field. I'm just going to get the whole shot and take off.
Oh, well, he gets off balance there after the whoops. RJ makes a run, but check out this. He goes to the outside, gets a good run, is able to slingshot past RJ Hampshire around the outside. And you want to talk about not making the same mistake twice in a rebound from the first race. Seth Hammaker showed a great display of that.
He learnt from that for sure. RJ Hampshire would follow him home but not challenge him. It was a comfortable win. And then the 41. That's the story of the night. Nate Thrasher with that injured finger. Boy, what a night he had. He challenged Hammaker for the whole shot in the third and final race.
Just didn't have the speed to beat Hammaker in this third race, but this is where it all went wrong for RJ Hampshire. A crucial moment of the race where he needed to get a start up front and just ride this thing in. Remember, he had some insurance as far as points go, 3 points lead going into that final race.
Carson Mumford, after 2 top 5 results in the first 2 races, was injured and would not finish the third race of the Triple Crown. He'd been having the night of the year aboard the Quadlock Honda. What a shame. So Hampshire kind of had to do what Hammaker did in the first race, carve his way through the field. He gets by Hardy Munoz.
And he did, and essentially he would get into the position where he tied Nate Thrasher in points, but in a tie situation, the winner goes to the person who finished the best, and eventually that would be. But check out that pass that Bennick tried to make on Tom Vial up the inside. I appreciate that effort, just wasn't quite there enough, needed about a 1.5 feet more.
So after the second race, Nate Thrasher said, hey, I am in this, I can get the win.
Yep.
Well, behind him, RJ Hampshire had passed enough people to tie Nate Thrasher. And while Hammaker won race 2 and race 3, it was Nate Thrasher's night. Tied on points, but having the bigger position. And P1 overall, the sign says it all. Nate Thrasher, first win of the year, first podium of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's like all or nothing, but we showed JT on the podium afterwards. The guy has basically can't even move the finger that is injured, and he's been dealing with that from the second round on.
So a 3-3-2 gets Nate Thrasher the overall to become the 5th different winner from 5 rounds. This has been an extraordinary year in 250 East Division. Hampshire the 125. How about Hammaker? 9-1-1 and doesn't get on the podium.
Yeah, it's wild, but to see Thrasher playing the consistent game, getting a great start in that final race as well. Good night for as far as points go.
And Tom Vial, still winless on the year, extends his championship lead from 1 to 10. How big is that?
Yeah, that's huge, especially when you talk about, you know, a guy that is so mentally astute when it comes to racing for championships. I think it's a big weekend for him because of that.
So one of the things that we were talking about on the broadcast and what we're about to show you now that kind of created a bit of a hole, and now that hole has widened, is the absence of Max Anstey. First round winner, multi-round red plate holder, suffered this accident. It's very jarring, very shocking, and it resulted in a broken left leg.
Yes, just unfortunate. So he comes up short. Watch right here and see how the bike slows down, and his momentum from his body speed keeps moving forward. He gets up over the handlebars, has to eject from the bike, and just lands on his left leg wrong. And what, broke his fibula?
Yeah, broke his fib. So that takes him out, and for sure will get surgery as soon as he possibly can. But that opens things up, not only for Vial. It could have changed. Things could have been different tonight, but, you know, the other guys might have thought, okay, now I've got a real chance. But Vial did enough. By the way, we love the stats. We love the numbers. Never has there been 6 different winners in 6 rounds in an East Division championship. That just has never happened. So we're at 5, and Vial, the championship leader, hasn't won yet. So it's looking good to happen, right?
And neither has Daxton Bennick. And Bennick looked pretty good at times, and I'm not counting him out. I go back to how well he rode at the season opener. Now, he got banged up the week after during practice, during the week. So if he can get back to where he was going into Tampa, maybe he could be the 6th winner. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. He'll have another week off, right?
Yep.
So they won't be in Seattle next weekend. But I hate that for Max because he looked so good. I mean, you think about Tampa, and then the next weekend, and then he goes goes to Daytona and he gets hurt. When he had that crash on press day at Daytona, I don't feel like he's been the same since. It just kind of like killed that momentum, and then what we saw today. I hate that for him, and you know, hope he heals up and he's back out here soon.
So good night for Yamaha in the 250 class. Great night for KTM in the 450. That takes us to manufacturer points. This is on the night. So here in Birmingham, KTM and Husqvarna, well, they own the night. And so that's why there's such a big points haul there. And on the season, Yamaha holds the top spot by 28 points over KTM and Kawasaki. Okay, so we're off to Seattle. West Coast bound. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, anytime we go to Seattle, I'm thinking, well, what's Mother Nature going to be like? I think that's going to be the biggest thing that I'm looking, what I'll be looking at going into Seattle. If it's an absolute quagmire, I think about 450s, big picture, like you just got to survive, you got to manage, put yourself in a good spot on the start and just ride it out and finish the race, do the best that you can. You can't lay it down, because if you fall, and I'm just assuming that the conditions are going to be horrible, you got to get the thing to the finish line. Big picture, and just manage the points. You got a points race that night, not necessarily go for the win. If it's there, obviously take it. As for the 250, same kind of thing, although they don't have as many races to recover left.
Right.
So it's going to be important. If the conditions are bad, it changes the strategy a little bit for me. You got to kind of got to send it a little bit.
So here's how to watch. As always, wall to wall. Everything on Peacock, all 31 rounds of the SMX World Championship. Time-wise, Race Day Live starts at 2:30 Eastern, and the gate drop will be at 8 p.m. There's also a re-air on CNBC. And for those of you watching outside of the United States, don't forget the SuperMotocross video pass. And then after Seattle, it's coming back here to the East Coast for that big 4-pack in the Northeast. That's going to be a lot of fun. Foxborough, Philly, Pittsburgh, New Jersey.
How was the Triple Crown, Diff?
I love them. You've converted me. I've got it. I've got the Triple Crown bug now. What a night in Birmingham. Thank you, Alabama. And congrats, Nate Thrasher and Chase Sexton.